So the big question is this: how do most agents who struggle to get the information that most successful agents hoard to themselves grow and prosper without this information? That's the big question, and this video cast is the answer. Welcome to Real Estate Rockstars. I'm your host, Pat Hyben. And now, for the review of the day. All right, I got a 5-star review here, and she wanted to specifically let me know that this was about the state of the market, which is cool because I think this is the first one we've gotten about specifically the state of the market. And I'm always curious, right? Because it's fairly new. You know, we've done less than 20 episodes of it. So, all right, this is Philadelphia Realtor, 5 stars, state of the market's what they called it. Thank you for everything, Pat. I use this content weekly to help my agents grow. It helps me help them stay fresh and in the know. Please keep it coming. The state of the market is great when it comes to recruiting because it helps brokers stay informed in more than just the sales side, but actually the industry changes as well. Hey, Philadelphia Realtor, thank you. This has been a really good review. I appreciate it. I've been wondering, are people liking the state of the market? Thank you. I see the downloads, so I assume they're liking it because people are listening to it, but it's our first review. Keep the comments coming, guys. I love them. And remember, I eat feedback for breakfast, so give me a 1-star review if you want, or a 5-star review if you want. I don't care. And the more reviews we get, the better guests we get. So please, subscribe first, and then leave us a review or wherever you're listening. All right, guys, well, we've tried the new show for a number of episodes, and the downloads have spoken. You guys love this show. Wow, I am so honored that we can do an engaging and fun and current show that agents from all over the world are listening to and learning from about what's happening in our beloved real estate industry. So we're going to keep it up. We're excited, and welcome to today's State of the Market.
Welcome, Rockstar Nation. Thanks for tuning into the State of the Market podcast with your host, Pat Hyben and Kevin Kaufman.
All right, Rockstar Nation, we are here for the state of the market today, and I got my co-host Kevin Kaufman on the line from scorching hot Phoenix, Arizona. Kevin, what's up, bro?
What's up, Pat Ivan? How you doing today, buddy? Things are going well in Phoenix, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, here I get in South Carolina, and I got 2 days in South Carolina, and then I'm going to my second house in Maryland for the summer. But it is like 100 here, man. It is 100, and it's like we are getting out of town. What about you? How are you dealing with the heat?
Dude, I'm not. It's 80 degrees here.
Oh, really?
We have had the coldest May on record for like the last 20 years or 25 years. I forget what the stat was I read. But here's the crazy part. It has literally been on average 20 to 22 degrees colder than the average day in May this whole month. Like, it has been insane. We are in this middle of this run. We're probably more like towards the end of it, of this run of just amazing 70 and 80 degree weather for the last two plus weeks. It's been so wonderful because we're used to, 100 plus by now.
Well, I'm looking forward to it cooling down a little bit back in Maryland. So anyways, buddy, let's get to some news in real estate and real estate sales and mortgages and everything else. The business that we live in. What do you want to talk about today? What's number one on the agenda?
Well, I think you and I, we both caught both of our eyes. Brad Inman had released his kind of, I guess, opinion piece last week on what he called the fall from grace of Realogy, with their stock just absolutely plummeting, hitting all-time lows. And they are taking a beating right now, both on the stock market as well as just kind of in the real estate streets, if you will. And so there's no doubt that has caused some turmoil there for, I like to call them the Ryans, Ryan Schneider, the CEO of Realogy, and Ryan Gorman, the CEO of NRT, two of the smartest people I've ever met personally. But man, they are backed up against the wall.
And just so people listening are clear, so what NRT is, it's the brokerage arm of Realogy, right? That's where they put all their real estate agent sales companies, to dumb it down, right?
The ones that they own, yes. So as an example,
ones they own,
yeah. So Century 21, that's a franchise company. It's a Realogy company, but those are independently owned and operated, as opposed to, say, most of the Coldwell Banker residential, not all, but most of those are actually owned by NRT, which is the conglomerate that Realogy owns. So they're essentially the company-owned brands or brokerages, if you will.
So part of what people are saying online, right, about this is the reason, right, that this Realogy, the reason that Realogy stock, and Grant, guys, if you have Realogy stock at one point at the all-time high was $52 a share, right? Okay, cool. Well, guess what? Today it's $7, right? So that sucker went from 52 to 7 just this year, right? Just this year, it's gone from 27 to 7. And a lot of that happened in in the last 90 days. It's dropped like another freaking big amount. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. Probably another $10 or so. I mean, it has just been absolutely taken a hit. And I remember it wasn't a couple weeks ago that Ryan Schneider, the CEO, came out, or I wouldn't say that he came out and said it, but it was reported on him that because he went and purchased $1 million worth of stock.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's what happened. And it has dropped half, right, in 90 days. And so what he did is before that, actually, he went and said, look, I stand behind my company. I'm going to buy shares in my own company, to show confidence. And then after that, it freaking plummeted, which is interesting, because that people think that a lot of times when the CEOs or big stock shareholders, buy back their own company, like it's a big sign. As a matter of fact, the opposite holds true. Usually, that's kind of why Zillow and Uber kind of stumbled coming out of the starting gate at the horse race when they both came out, because none of their inside people decided to buy any more before it went public. They were like, they had like these options to buy a shit ton more, and they're like, nah, we're good. We got enough. And then the market saw that as like, oh, what did they know that we don't know? They don't want to buy anymore. So that's a signal that not buying is essentially wanting to sell, but they can't. And so he was trying to do the opposite. You never know which way it's going to go. He's like, I'm going to buy $1 million personally. And then it dropped in half again. So anyways, a lot of people are saying that this is the reason why. And I want to talk to you about this. Owning a franchise real estate brokerage, right, is a lot more guaranteed profit than owning a corporate brokerage or a single brokerage. And NRT is essentially made up of a lot of these corporate, either, ones that don't pay a franchise fee, right? They're just corporate stores. And it's just a hell of a lot harder to make a profit in those, as opposed to a Remax, a Keller Williams, Better Homes and Gardens, whatever, where, the agents are guaranteed to pay you 6 to 8% on every transaction. And as a company, your overhead is employees, all in one spot in New Jersey or in Austin, Texas, or in Denver, Colorado, whatever. You know what I mean? Because that's like, that's like, well, it's just guaranteed cash coming in for expenses that you can control. And in the brokerages, it's a hell of a game trying to make money in the. Am I making sense? So they're saying that's why. That's the reason why. What do you think?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Well, here's to me, this is the interesting part, Pat. You look at Realogy, they have about $6 billion. That's a billion with a B in annual revenue. So, Brad actually pointed out compared to like 1 billion or 1.3 billion compared to Zillow, which still loses money. Realogy earned $600 million last year because it does have high margins from its franchise business. But I think the big problem is the big problem is they've got over 3 billion. It's like $3.6 billion in debt. And I think that scares a lot of people right now. And so even though you've got 6 billion in revenue, they made a profit last year of 600 million. That's nothing to bat an eye at. I mean, that's a big dollar amount, $600 million profit, cash flow. That though what has people concerned is 3.6 billion in debt. I mean, if you look at it today, their market cap is like 750, 800 million dollars. That's a fraction of the debt that they have. And I think that is scaring away a lot of people. Now, obviously, Ryan Schneider is working hard to make sure this, that they kind of turn the corner. I think they're unfortunately at a place where they're hitting this perfect storm of the markets are changing, brokerages are being disrupted, technology is coming in at a faster pace than ever.
Commissions are going down.
Yeah, you name it.
All that is creating less profit.
Yeah.
For the margins. Let's just say margins are shrinking, right? That's a guarantee. But if you have a franchise, your margin is 6%. You're getting that 6% or 8% or whatever. And so far, none of the brokerages like Remax hasn't come out and said, hey, we're taking our we're franchised from 5% to 4%. Keller Williams has not come out and said we're taking our 6% to 2%, or you know what I mean? They're not bending. Yep. Which is part of NRT's problem, right? Like it's hard to stand still when you're a little guy because people just break camp and leave, and you're like, oh no, I'll give you a better split.
Yeah,
and then your margins suck.
Yeah, it's tough. So while they're making money today, I think though with all these changes coming into the industry, and the fact that they've got this $3.6 billion in debt. It's got some investors scared. It's got Wall Street scared, and they have got an uphill battle. No doubt.
Another thing they're doing, which I don't know, you never know the message it sends to Wall Street, but it's interesting because this happened. Keller Williams did this certainly recently, but in a much different way, right? Yet it's still similar to what NRT is doing. NRT is cleaning their licenses across the board. I mean, they're basically going in and saying, look, if you're not bringing in company dollar, right? If you're not making the company money, you're out of here. We're not going to train you. We're not going to give you coffee. We're not going to pay for your business cards. We're just out of here. It's funny because I remember the first brokerage I ever went to work at, the manager at one point, was only 40 agents. And he said, okay, whoever is the worst producer in the next 90 days, I'm going to cancel their license. And at the time, I didn't think it was a big deal. It did motivate me, but it's kind of reminiscent of that, right? Like they're just cleaning house. They're like, look, if you're not, we're tightening it up. We don't care. All right, we don't care about our agent numbers, about our agent count. Right? If you're not making us money, go waste someone else's time. And now for the review of the day. All right, I got a 5-star review here, and she wanted to specifically let me know that this was about the state of the market, which is cool because I think this is the first one we've gotten about specifically the state of the market. And I'm always curious, right? Because it's fairly new. We've done less than 20 episodes of it. So, all right, this is Philadelphia Realtor, 5 stars, state of the market's what they called it. Thank you for everything, Pat. I use this content weekly to help my agents grow. It helps me help them stay fresh and in the know. Please keep it coming. The state of the market is great when it comes to recruiting because it helps brokers stay informed in more than just the sales side, but actually the industry changes as well. Hey, Philadelphia Realtor, thank you. This has been a really good review. I appreciate it. I've been wondering, are people liking the state of the market? Thank you. I see the downloads, so I assume they're liking it because people are listening to it, but it's our first review. Keep the comments coming, guys. I love them. And remember, I eat feedback for breakfast, so give me a 1-star review if you want, or a 5-star review if you want. I don't care. And the more reviews we get, the better guests we get. So please, subscribe first, and then leave us a review or wherever you're listening.
Exactly. Go learn somewhere else. And, no doubt about it, uphill battle. I think that that they've got a good team there. I've spent some time with those folks. I think they're really smart. And I'm also not envious of their position. What a tough job to have. And we'll see what happens for them.
I also think that Wall Street is screwy in that it's run by, there's all kinds of people investing in the stock market, right? Everyone from a freshman in college to, a 9-year-old guy, with a huge retirement account, and where they're putting their money is not exciting. I guess they're not as excited about real estate companies. And I don't know if it's because they see the writings on the wall, but it goes back to what you were saying, but with that, with the Zillow and all that, they see that as a tech play, and they're much more excited about it. Yeah. And they give it this unreasonable valuation and plug all this money into it when, when they could do, Realogy, and they're just like, no, I don't want to do that. I'd rather do something more exciting. Something
I'd like to point out, because I've seen this come up in some forums. I've seen some agents who just, first of all, I do not profess to be an expert on the stock market. I don't even know that I know what I'm talking about. I know a little. I study it. But I've seen
enough to get on a talk show like this, and
well, I've also got my money on the line too in the stock market. So I definitely invest and so. But one of the things that people say, and I can say this too, also as an EXP agent, because I hear this, is what about the stock price? Those agents should be worried, and what everyone needs to understand is no matter what the Realogy stock price is, whether it is $2 or $200, or back to the $60 it was, or the $7 it is today, that does not affect brokerage operations. As a realtor, our jobs are to go out and represent the buyers and sellers in the marketplace, not to worry about Wall Street. Yes, the greater parent company owns the brokerage, but you've got to understand a real estate brokerage is a state-level company and a state-level entity recognized by the state, not recognized by Wall Street. And so this does not impact all of those agents' jobs. Those agents are going out and working hard every day under the NRT and Realogy brands, and this doesn't impact them. They can still go out and help people buy and sell real estate every single day, no matter what the stock price is. And I think as realtors, we need to understand that. Like, that cannot be a sword we use against other realtors who work for publicly traded companies and say, hey, aren't you worried it's at $7 or $6 or $8, whatever it is? The fact of the matter is, no, they're not, and nor should they.
Yeah, I mean, do agents really care? Like you said at the end, I mean, even like Remax, right? If you look at Remax, its 52-week high was $56, and today it's at 32. Dude, that's what I would call plummeting. And what is the reason, right? What is the reason other than just, I just don't think that investors are real excited about real estate companies.
They're not.
Unless it's a Zillow or, on the other hand, you look at like a Redfin, right? If you look at Redfin stock, that's kind of held decent, It's, let's see, Redfin, it's dropped recently, but at like 18 now, 52-week high 26. So it's still down, but it's not like plummeted.
No, not at all.
I think the people just like to invest in stock, tech stuff.
There's a guy I listen to. He's become a mentor, although I don't really know him. But he is literally an expert. He advises hedge funds. He co-founded the Princeton Review. He's kind of smart. He says that, when you buy a stock, that is nothing more than the expression of what you believe will happen in the future. So when a stock price goes up, it's because investors see a bright future for that company. When the prices go down and they start selling off, it's because they see a glum future. That is nothing more than a bet, though. And that we got to understand that separation of what an investment is or a stock price is and the actual performance of the company on a profit and loss statement.
True. All right. Well, let's move on. I still want to. It's the next one we're going to talk about. Still has to do with brokerages and such, and agents and such. But it's a lot different. And I want to talk to you about like this HomeSmart guy buying, Realty One. I don't understand. Maybe you can help me with this, Kev. Maybe it'd be like if I had 10 Remax offices, and then I went out and bought 10 Keller Williams offices, threw my license up at EXP and started recruiting agents there, and then also, bought some Coldwell Bankers. I didn't know you could do this. I guess if a Realogy, right, can buy Better Homes and Gardens and Coldwell Banker, and whatever, then maybe a person can as well. Talk to me about this.
Yeah. So I've owned a franchise company before. And I know that while I was an owner of that franchise, I could not have any sort of interest in any other company, any other real estate company. So this is definitely atypical, right? So
First of all, tell us the news. Yeah.
So what happened is we've got a franchisee by the name of Randy Rector, who owns a bunch of, I'm not going to say a bunch of, he definitely owns a HomeSmart franchise, HomeSmart Evergreen Realty, which is in California, Orange County area. So what he's done is he's now gone out and purchased 7 Realty One Group offices in Orange County as well as the Inland Empire, so not too far away from Orange County. And so now this one particular gentleman, Randy Rector, he's got his HomeSmart franchise, and now he owns 7 offices for Realty One Group, which is a separate franchise. And I find that definitely peculiar. Matt Widows, who's the CEO of HomeSmart, which started here in Phoenix, told Inman News that the arrangement that Rector is embarking on is definitely unusual and, quote, outside of the box. Yeah, I got to be honest. I'm surprised that Matt Widows and HomeSmart, and quite frankly, Realty One for that matter, don't have some sort of clause in their franchise agreements that would prevent somebody from doing this. But this guy is now going to go out and operate 2 separate brands. I don't get it.
He clearly had to get permission from both sides before doing this, I would imagine.
Well, I don't know, would he? If it's not against your franchise agreement, do you need permission?
Well, who wouldn't have a franchise agreement that says you can't aid the enemy?
That's my question. So I don't know. Hopefully there is a HomeSmart franchisee listening to this that could maybe share some information with us that whether or not this is permitted or not permitted or even addressed in their franchise agreement. I got to believe that it's not. I mean, you could not go own I know for sure you cannot own a Keller Williams Realty and then go buy, say, a Realty One Group franchise as well. It's just not permitted. It's literally against the franchise agreement. So I wonder how this is being allowed to go down.
Yeah, other than they just allowed it. I mean, they figured that on some level it's going to help both of them. And the way the article was written was that on some level it will help both of them because Randy is running both of them, and he's a dynamo, and he's going to lead them into the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, if Randy's such a dynamo, though, why isn't like HomeSmart just trying to give him more franchises as an example?
Say it again. If
he's such a great operator as a franchisee, why isn't HomeSmart issuing him more franchises as opposed to him needing to go to Realty One Group? I mean, here's what I'm concerned about. This sends a mixed message to his agent base. So he's got these agents, however many he has inside of his franchise, his HomeSmart franchise, and now they're going, hold on a second. Now you own this Realty One Group over here. Why am I here? Like, what if, one's cheaper than the other thing is HomeSmart's cheap. It's very inexpensive. And so Realty One Group, while they're not that expensive, they are more expensive than
So
HomeSmart.
HomeSmart's a $500 per transaction or something like that. Or
That type of deal, right?
that type of deal. It's 100% company on some.
Yeah. And so I don't, you see, was this play, maybe this is a coup in his mind. He's going to go be able to get all the Realty One Group agents to move over eventually. Although he says, like, this fact sheet about this transaction says they will not merge now or in the future. So this is definitely peculiar. Who knows what's going on? I'm sure we don't have anywhere near the full story, but it's definitely interesting, man.
I want you to think about the word toolbox. What is a toolbox? A toolbox is a box full of tools that you use to build something great. At Real Estate Rockstars, we've created our own free toolbox. So everybody that comes on the show as a guest brings a tool with them, and we plow them all into this toolbox, and we give it away for our viewing audience to basically use as they wish. Everything we put in there is an actionable item that can be downloaded, can be printed, can be used immediately. And we got things like scripts and dialogues, checklists for teams, checklists to keep agents accountable, referral forms that are filled out at settlement to get referrals by your buyers and sellers. Everything you could think of that you could use on a regular basis about real estate is included in this toolbox, and it's helping agents worldwide sell more houses and make their jobs a lot easier and processes much more efficient. And the thing is, it's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to hibandigital.com/toolbox or text the word toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox 444-999. Do it now. Hey, real estate agents and rock stars. If you're getting value out of the content in this episode, make sure you like the video and subscribe to this channel. Also, click the little bell icon to be notified about upcoming episodes. And I would also love it if you left a comment and shared the most impactful tips and tactics you've learned from the knowledge shared in this episode, or even maybe make a suggestion requesting a topic of what you'd like to learn in future episodes. I welcome any feedback below. Now, back to the episode. Yeah, well, yeah, it's interesting. I guess we just don't understand it. So let's talk a little technology, man. There was some interesting stuff going on recently, and I love seeing this stuff because there's nothing wrong. I think it's great that that everybody nowadays is striving to make things faster. I don't care what industry you're in. It's all about speed. It's about the need for speed, and our need for speed is getting greater and greater and greater. Anyways, this company Figure Tech, right? Who they use the software they created, or whatever you want to call it, is Provenance. It's like Providence, but provenance.io. And basically what they do is they are doing loans, right? Mortgages faster than what else is out there via the blockchain, right? Via the blockchain. And so the tagline and the thing for people to remember on a high level is a 5-minute approval, like loan approval, done deal, contingent on appraisal, I'm sure. Although maybe, I don't know, maybe they could probably zip, zap, zip, look up this estimate. Who knows? I don't know. That's a good question. 5-minute approval, 5-day funding, money in your pocket in 5 days. And so right now what they're doing is, and oh, by the way, they just got $1 million backing, right? They already have funding for $120 million. Now they got an additional $1 million.
Billion.
Billion.
Missed the B.
Billion. Yeah. Billion. So what they do is, number one, right, currently, and this is just, mortgages, regular mortgages are coming, right? You got $1 billion, you're going to work. So right now in the beginning stages, they got 3 things. They got HELOCs, home equity lines of credit. Okay, right? You get a loan, lose it like a credit card, whatever. They got, and also with the HELOC, you could get the cash out refis
Oh, okay.
and the home improvement loans, that sort of thing. And the other big thing that they got is this retirement sale leaseback. You know anything about that?
Retirement sale
Yeah,
lease
where they buy it, right? They buy your house and then they lease it back to you.
for the remainder of your
Life,
natural
yeah,
life.
yeah. If you want to stay in your house, because I think a lot of old people want that, right? They're like, shit, we can't afford this house anymore, right? Or we don't have any cash. Like a lot of people, their net worth is tied up in their primary residence.
Yep.
And they can't access it easily, right? They don't have the Social Security, and their pension does not pay enough money for them to maintain a lifestyle that makes them happy, or that's, that they could live on, right? It's a big problem. But if they could take the equity out of their house and not have to move, it serves the same purpose. Why do they care, right? I mean,
Yeah, it's like a reimagined reverse mortgage, if you will. So, this is interesting. What I've seen time and time again now over the last few months is there are new players, just like in the real estate brokerage and the real estate agent world, that are coming in and trying to do things differently. And it's happening in lending too. Whether it's this company, or I think of another company called Divvy, Divvy, which recently raised somewhere around $200 million in their fourth funding round. That is like where they're looking to give loans, or they're looking to make access to capital to homeowners easier, faster, better, more of a consumer-friendly experience. Or this other company, Zero Down, that also came out recently. That this is Zero Down is in the Bay Area, San Francisco. They just raised not a lot because it's early on, like $10 million. However, what their goal, Zero Down, is going to do is go out and purchase homes for customers and then help them work towards home ownership with monthly payments determined by their income. So forget about the purchase prices, whatever the purchase price is, right? But they're going to go out and buy it and then work with the individual new homeowner, if you will, based on what their income is. So that way they're not, some people would call it house poor, if you will. So
it's kind of like a credit card or something, right? Like where it's kind of like a credit counseling industry, credit counseling play, right? Where they're like, hey, you can't afford this house now, but we're going to work with you.
Yeah.
So that your ultimate goal is to buy the house, and we're going to buy it though today and for you. But surely they're making money on the deal. I mean, I'm curious what their margins are on it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, these are smart people. These are the guys who had founded Zenefits, which is a huge company. It's like the co-founder and former CTO from there, as well as this former chief operating officer and a few other like engineers and whatnot from Zenefits are in on this company called Zero Down. I can't remember right now off the top of my head who's in on Divvy, but essentially these are companies out there that are like, they're meeting the consumer demand, which in the consumer behavior is saying, we want this easier, faster, better.
We want this faster. And the way they're doing it, and I assume these other companies, I think they are doing it on the blockchain. That's the big play here is blockchain. It allows everybody, and we're not talking about, I mean, certainly a lot of people associate blockchain with Bitcoin and that sort of thing. And that's relevant, but these things are not big. They're not giving you a mortgage in Bitcoin. I don't want you to get confused here. I mean, basically what Providence is doing or does is allows everything to happen so fast and allows it to be 100% digital. So they're giving you the first or one of the first digital mortgages, one of the first digital titles, right? Where you never have to meet with a human being for settlement, title, mortgage, nothing, right? Zip, zip, zip. And it's safe. It's on the blockchain. I mean, they say on their website, it says Providence will dramatically reduce costs, improve liquidity, and reduce risk and open new financial markets. Reducing risk is what they're talking about is all this fraud that's going on at title companies, right? With the wires,
Yeah.
right? Where we've known some people personally who've had to shut down their title companies because some people from foreign country had sent out these emails that say, hey, the wiring information has changed, send the wire here. And I know, we know a guy personally, won't bring up names, who lost $1 million in a day by one of these companies. And he had a little, couple hundred deal a year title company, had to shut it down.
Jeez.
And that's what they're talking about. And so the blockchain should be able to protect you from this. And it says, basically what they're doing is stakeholders. This is from the website. Stakeholders, originators, lenders, and traders will be allowed to use our blockchain technology to basically do mortgages. So what's happening is, all mortgage brokers, other people are going to be able to use this technology. Other companies are going to be able to use this technology as well that these guys have set up. So it's interesting. Anyways, the bottom line is, it all goes back to the advertising. 5-minute approval, 5-day funding.
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't just jump out to, that doesn't just jump off the page to a home buyer, homeowner, whoever's looking to get a loan, whether it's a HELOC or a new purchase, something like that. They're trying to make life easier for the consumer.
And according to them, without raping the consumer, without a couple, and I don't know what their costs are, right? But according to them, your mortgage guy or your bank that you use, if you go to get a HELOC from your bank, they're going to jack you on a couple points. They're going to jack you, with all kinds of fees. The title company that settles it's going to jack you with a bunch of fees. And they're saying, hey, no, we're going to be this painless, fast, feeless. And I'm using that word. I don't know if it's accurate what their fees are, but according to this, it's massively reducing costs. It says right here, we dramatically reduce costs.
Yeah, I think that's the key, right? So that's how they make it, that's how they can make it not just a better consumer experience, but also more affordable or less expensive, if you will, is by being able to reduce the things, or essentially what it does is automate things that aren't currently automated.
Yeah, and it's all blockchain stuff, right? It allows it. It's all recorded. It's done. Boom. You don't need a human being. You don't need all these human beings. What's interesting, I asked a couple title company owners, is a blockchain going to put you out of business? And they're like, no. People still like to shake hands, change keys, give a list of what days the trash comes and all that stuff. But I don't know, man.
No different than if we asked that same question to a real estate agent or a broker, or I think that the reality is some of the folks who are around today will survive and some won't, because there's going to be a certain amount of demand for this. What that demand is, though, remains to be seen.
Mm-hmm. True, very true. All right, boss. Well, anything else in the news you want to talk about?
I think that's it for this week, man. It was definitely an interesting week. Glad we get to talk about some of this interesting brokerage stuff and some of the cool tech coming out in the financial world. And I'm excited for what's to come.
All right, boss. Well, sounds good. Well, I'll see you next week then.
All right, Real Estate Rockstars and Next Level Podcast listeners and agents, we will see you soon. Take it easy.
Thanks for tuning into the State of the Market podcast with your host, Pat Hyben and Kevin Kaufman.
Thank you so much for listening to the State of the Market. If you have any news you would like us to cover, please go to Next Level Agents on Facebook or send an email to info@rebusuniversity.com. That's info@rebusuniversity, REBUS, university.com, and we'll be sure to bring it up